Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, French candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And oh man, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks since we've been
An
here.
election happened, Dusty.
Yeah. A very depressing and weird election happened. We covered it a little bit.
We did. We did what we could.
Yeah, the Democratic nominee in the New York City mayor race won overwhelmingly. I think they called it in 13 minutes.
Oof.
A lot of
A
incumbents.
New York minute, they called it.
Oh god damn it! I'm done. I'm remembering why we took a break.
Rude.
Virginia's Republican now, and it's all progressive's fault. And
This is where I realize I have my own media bubble, because so many of the articles were articles in retaliation to the articles about Virginia, and just being like, this is always what happens for Virginia, so maybe calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And instead, I feel like not enough articles were about Buffalo.
Yeah.
And what was his name?
Byron Brown.
Byron Brown. He knows what he did.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting emails from the Democratic Party of Illinois, ramping up for next year. I want to be like, hey,
Yeah.
Byron Brown knows what he did, you fuckers. Also, student loans, where are we at?
Yeah, can we please cover this? Look, I understand Tammy Duckworth, who is fucking great, has a lunatic who will probably be the person running against her. That being said, could we please, maybe, get some student loan forgiveness?
Ashley, there's a reason you're sending this email to me. It's because you spent a little too much time with ball Christian girl Ashley trying to get her to go to prom with you, and then she didn't. I am onto you, National Democratic Party, and I don't like it. I want to vote for you.
Yeah, I get it. Abigail Spanberger is pissed, and she's probably gonna lose. But you know what? You gotta give me a reason to give you money, because I don't.
You gotta.
This
what are
fool
you
does
doing
not
for
like
the
to
Black
part with it.
community? Oh, nothing. Guess
Unless-
what?
Unless it's a Kickstarter for useless shit, I am not giving you money.
Yeah.
For stock and weed, I'm not giving you money.
Oh my god.
Speaking of giving people money, I think it's really good that we should take a little moment to talk about Bari Weiss's university that will be showing up, that she announced today.
Door, what?
The University of Austin, which in theory will be at Austin, Texas, is a no-degree university that will be featuring many of the wisest in alt-right to right-leaning minds. Probably the biggest name that I think you and I are familiar with is a fellow by the name of David Mamet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, David Mamet, I don't know what he's going to be doing there. He's currently on the advisory committee. Yeah, it's a whole university that's anti-woke, anti-left-leaning, very, very strange. So we're going to keep a side eye on that for the time being, but I'm very, very intrigued by this University of Austin. I can't wait to see what the tuition is going to be. I can't wait to see what the housing is going to be. A few of the classes could be very interesting. So I'm curious if it turns into more than just a PragerU.
Yikes.
Yeah, but that's kind of the theme today.
Grifting?
Yeah, just kind of taking money when you need.
Yay!
We're also going back to our roots. We're talking about a legitimate third-party candidate today.
What?
Now, the hard part is I was trying to figure out how to approach this story. It's very weird and very strange and very, it feels like we should be drinking moonshine while we tell this story, but I have none, and I don't think you have any booze that would be equivalent to your place. So I'm just going to say, find a hammer, hit your temple once, and then we should be good.
Yeah. I mean, those listening at home, just grab your liquor.
Mm-hmm. Or your medical
Please.
hammer, only a medical one, and just go for it. So I think we have to talk a little bit about the party that this guy eventually runs on. And to do that, we have to talk about the national party that they were founded from. So we got to go a little bit deep. So first, we got to talk about the Independent American Party. Now, I'm not sure if that name rings any bells as of right
None
now.
at all.
For a period of time, they were the organization that was pushing for George Wallace to become president of the United States in 1968.
Ah.
So they were founded in 1967, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There are two things that the American Independent Party really loved: Democratic Governor George Wallace and white supremacy. And it was pretty much the reason that they ran. They would initially say that it's it's for states' rights and we're fed up with being Democrats, but it was entirely as a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to the civil rights movement. So as most major parties do, a number of state affiliates started opening up to represent them. And one in particular would be the Independent American Party of Nevada, which is who we're going to be talking about predominantly today. Now, the story of George Wallace is a very long one, and I'm sure we're going to get to it at some point. But kind of the long and short of it is he'd win about 5 states in the South by his pro-segregationist dogma, but ultimately he lost the presidency, split the Democratic Party, and paved the way for 2 terms of Richard Nixon. The American Independent Party would fall in lazy times after Wallace lost, and would eventually regroup in 1972 as the American Party, this time choosing anti-communist Congressman John J. Schmitz to run for president. Fun fact about John J. Schmitz, one of his children would go by the name of Mary Kay Letourneau, who is a teacher who fucked a child and then married that child after she got out of prison.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
It's like, why does that name sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. And John J. Schmitz was a avid anti-communist at the time. He was a very short-term congressman, but he was a big get for the party. And while he didn't do nearly as well as Wallace had in 1968, he was still able to pull 1.1 million votes nationwide.
Damn.
So the thing, though, is the Independent American Party of Nevada needed to make a name for themselves beyond presidential elections, especially since Schmitz hadn't even made it onto the ballot in Nevada. But Wallace was able to get 13% in 1968, so the desire for an ultra-conservative, blatantly racist candidate was there. The thing, though, is that outside of the presidential election in 68, the IAP was seeing a severe drop in popularity. If they were to survive as more than a regional vehicle for George Wallace, they would need to have at least one amazing candidate. They would have to perform historically well against the two major parties in Nevada. In 1974 seemed like the year that this party, born of paleoconservative theory and racist ideology, was going to make its huge push for state and federal office. For the first time ever, they had candidates for Congress, Senate, and governor. It was a make-or-break year for the IAP, and while they faced a heavily uphill battle, the gubernatorial race had just enough factors to make victory possible, all starting with their wunderkind nominee, James Ray Houston. So James Ray Houston was born in 1945 in Kansas City, Missouri. But if you're on friendly enough terms, and Una, I think you and I might be, you can call him Jim. Jim. And granted, I'm assuming this because in his literature, he lists his name, and then in parentheses, he writes Jim.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's a friend of Jim.
Yeah. And while not much is known about his childhood, he does state that he would drop out of high school at the age of 15, predominantly to support his foster family. And as soon as he dropped out, he picked up a job as a magazine salesman for the Curtis Publishing Company. Now, that name really doesn't mean a whole lot to you or I today, but at the turn of the century, they were one of the biggest publishers in the entire country.
Ooh.
On one end, they published the highly successful Ladies' Home Journal, but their big claim to fame was the Saturday Evening Post.
Oh, yeah. The Saturday Evening Post.
Exactly. These were the folks who brought in famous writers. They brought in Norman Rockwell to make their front page stand out amongst all the other magazines. Initially, in 1897, Curtis Publishing had bought the magazine for about $1,000, and within a decade, the subscription base had grown from 2,000 households to about 1 million. And now, James wouldn't be lucky enough to ride the wave of the publishing company's success, mainly because by 1960, a little thing called TV was kind of fucking up the magazine industry.
A little bit.
Yeah. When you have moving pictures in your home, it kind of makes magazines pointless, and a lot of your free time is just kind of gone. So it's at this time Curtis began downsizing that would lead the publishing giant to their slow demise. But somehow, James was able to get the people of Kansas City to buy multiple subscriptions to the dying type. In fact, he did so well his very first year that Curtis would present the 15-year-old with the National Ben Franklin Award, which was an award they gave away each year to the person who sold the most subscriptions nationwide.
Ooh.
Kind of a fancy thing. Now, a lot of this was because it was named the Ben Franklin Award because the Saturday Evening Post has lineage with Ben Franklin's newspaper back in 1726.
Okay.
And so there's kind of a connection there, which is
I mean, fine, whatever. It just sounds like some very prototypical, like, of that era.
Yeah.
Elks and Lodge bullshit. That's like, yeah, incredibly white and affirmingly white.
Yeah. Thanks for saving our company. Here is a 10-foot Hershey bar. Have fun. Here's an award that we mostly don't care about. Child. Now, it did seem like Jim was set for a lifetime of sales, but by the time he turned 18, Curtis Publishing had announced their first loss in the company's history. And sticking with the sinking ship, that's just not Jim's brand. So he did what any successful high school dropout does, and he joined the Army in 1963.
Oh, no.
Now, he would slowly rise through the grunt work available to him until his final year when he was offered the job of a lifetime, working as the executive secretary to General Creighton Abrams, the commander of American forces in the European theater. To call Abrams a hero would be kind of putting it lightly. During his 3.5-decade career in the Army, Abrams was the tank commander of the 4th Armored Division during World War II, was considered to be like the tip of the spear for Patton during that time. He led the 63rd Tank Battalion in the Korean War and ran the entire military from 1967 to 1972 during the Vietnam War, which, not great, but he did replace Westmoreland, which I guess is an improvement, but he also did a lot of the stuff Nixon wanted him to do, so...
Wait, so this guy signs up in 1963 and he's not sent over to be a quiet American in Saigon?
No, I don't know how this happened, but he went through basic, and then they're like, you have such a clever mind. We're going to treat you like Washington treated Hamilton. We're going to make you the executive secretary.
Oh, so they probably sent him to, like, Berlin.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, we're going to make you a big goddamn deal.
Well, hot damn.
And so Abrams, pretty much General Patton at one point referred to him as his sole peer during World War II, and he'd finished out of his military career as the Chief of Staff of the Army from 1972 to 1974. The dude was so beloved and respected that in 1980, when a new tank would be introduced to America's arsenal, they only felt it appropriate to name it the M1 Abrams. So to be his executive secretary was a sign of greatness that lay ahead for Jim. So of course, 1 year after getting this job, he accepted an honorable discharge and went back to the States.
Wait, what?
Yep. He got it. He's good. You know what? I think I want to do business. And so Jim accepts the discharge from the Army in 1966, goes right back to America, and he starts his own publishing company. He would name it the International Publishing Company, and the group would focus mainly on creating puzzle books. When I think of this, I think those kind of glued together at the top, and you open it up, and there's like a crossword and a maze, and there's like a jumble and a few other things in there.
Yeah, and it's on like that really, really dark gray recycled paper.
Oh, 100%. Like the cheapest paper you can find, the worst glue available, because children are going to draw on this. It does not matter. So he would found this company, and over the next 5 years, the International Publishing Company would grow into the world's largest puzzle-based publisher in the world. And Una, they netted $1.5 million a year, or a little over $10 million in today's money. Look, I would normally shit talk a person for leaving such an amazing job, but he's missing the Vietnam War. Yep. He's a fucking millionaire. He's making puzzle books for idiots. He's doing great.
Yeah.
Like, all he needs to do is discover Sudoku, and he's going to be a billionaire for the rest of his goddamn life. So in 1972, he decided to make another change, and he sold his company. And using this money, he traveled to Europe and decided what he really needed to do was study with the greatest minds of business and banking to figure out really how the world worked. And he promised that upon his return, he'd begin writing a book to detail everything that he had learned. But instead, he would get his first push into politics. Granted, not American politics, the Bahamian. So you see, the Bahamas were about to enter a whole new position on the world stage, not as a British colony, but as an independent nation. Many colonies around the world were leaving the Commonwealth. The Bahamas had already begun the process for themselves back in 1964. That year, they would nominate Sir Roland Simonot as their first premier and begin a decade-long period of self-rule. In 1967, Sir Lyndon O'Pindling would become the first black leader of the majority black nation. But one of the big details of becoming an independent nation is you kind of need to establish financial security. And they've been relying on Britain to do that for them for years. So what they decided to do is they need kind of a bridge between the British rule and independent rule. So they set up something called the Bahamas Monetary Authority. So the authority's job would be to create a foreign exchange, which locked the Bahamian dollar with the American dollar, purchased all government debt, and would be the last line of defense if any bank suddenly needed a loan during a financial emergency. And during this time, they also requested the presence of James Ray Houston to help them understand the foreign markets and ensure that an easy transition from colony to country could be made.
They wanted Puzzle Book Man.
Yeah. I mean, the dude made $1.5 million. He's been in Europe.
And with Puzzle Book, fine. What do I know?
Look, it's the 60s. It was a wild fucking time. What are you going to do? And now with these international bona fides, Jim was able to make his biggest move ever. In 1973, he started the Western Pacific Coin and Silver Exchange. Now, the general idea with this company would be twofold. For one, it would give people a place to exchange silver and gold amongst like-minded individuals at a rate that they deemed to be fair amongst each other. However, if you, say, had a ton of silver and you didn't feel like keeping it at your place, because, you know, criminals come to your place sometimes, for $30 a month, you could keep all of your silver at a vault and they would hold on to it for you.
So you could, for $30 a month, you could cosplay being important enough to secure your silver at Fort Knox. But it's not Fort Knox. It's a holding company owned by Puzzle Book Man.
He's been to the Bahamas. He's talked to like bankers in, I assume, Austria. And look, I also need to impress this as of right now. The man is 28 years old.
Thank you. I was waiting to get to that part where we find out that he goes into politics at 30, and this is why we're talking about him.
He doesn't even get to 30. He is 28 years old. He has a vault in Utah, and he has convinced at least 10,000 people, hey, let me keep your silver here. It's going to be safe. No one knows where Utah is. My letter of recommendation is from all of the Bahamas.
Look, I recognize that I'm mostly mad that someone got to this idea before I did.
That's the thing, is it's not a
game
new
recognized
idea.
Game. Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, and what's $30 in 1972 we're talking?
That's like $150.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, if you have enough silver that you need to keep it in a vault.
First of all, what are you doing with that much silver?
I mean, look, the world's going to end at any point, and we're going to get to why you should have a bunch of silver. But as someone who has, I don't know, an unknown amount of silver because I've never really checked or looked at any of like the old coins I have.
Are you joking me? I can count on two hands probably the silver dollars that I have from various like great uncles.
Look, I just need to look into whether those pennies are silver or tin. If we can
They're
go from
tin,
there.
Dusty. They're always tin.
I have no silver then. I have zero silver. So look, this 30
well, guess
bucks
what? I know of a vault in Utah we can break into.
No, man, I am spending my 30 bucks on Grubhub that I will regret an hour and a half later. It'll be great. So he's made a name out of nowhere with this company because within a year, he had 16 offices in 3 different countries, and he becomes the most powerful silver exchange person worldwide. He becomes what he describes himself as the Silver King of Nevada.
He had a silver tongue.
He kind of looks like he does. I mean, this is more of a joke for me and you, but he looks kind of like an evil Pete Davidson.
Amazing.
It's from the front on. That's how he looks. I mean, he looks a little bit more like my friend John Steins, but like for the sake of everyone else, like Pete Davidson could absolutely play this guy and do a wonderful job.
I love it.
So with a resume like that, and at 29 years old, Jim was more than ready to approach the Independent American Party to be their answer for governor. Now, the Independent American Party of Nevada has a long and storied history and has been run by the Hanson family since its inauguration in 1967. There's a lot to tell about them, and we don't really have the time to say as of right now. But all I can say is that Dan Hanson, the leader of the party, describes it kind of as a fortuitous event that allowed him to meet James Houston. And he was so taken in by this guy that he said, hey, I think you need to be our gubernatorial nominee for our party in 74.
This fucking kid, like the U.S. military is like, hey, I think you need to be the right-hand man of the general that America loves. Like, oh, hey, our publishing company is going under, but maybe you need to be the right-hand man to puzzle books. Yeah. Hey, we're the Bahamas. Can you be the right-hand man to our financial future?
He just consistently says no and goes his own way. And
this guy,
look, it's worked out for him so far, so I get it. I get why he's done it. He's walked away from everything and it's consistently gotten better. You know, it's the story of white men in America. At least up until 2008. So with qualifications like this, the party was in no position to say no. They needed someone with a world of experience and to not just take down a beloved incumbent, but a second major party. And lucky for them, Jim would get some help from our old friend, misogyny.
Oh!
So the Republicans sorry, it's really hard to move on from that. Yeah. So the Republicans had recently lost the governor's seat after a single term of Paul Laxalt ended in 1970. Nevada is kind of one of those states where it's not really set blue or red. It can really shift from time to time, whether it's Republican or Democrat. So this sort of ebb and flow isn't really weird. And so if the GOP was able to get a big enough candidate to run against the Democrat, there was entirely a chance that they could end up winning. The problem, though, is that they really didn't try to get a strong or popular candidate. And the Nevada GOP responded, as the Reno Gazette-Journal put it, quote, by seeming to concede the race. Either the GOP organization is too weak to put up a really potent performer, or it's committed a tactical error.
Damn. Okay.
So for some reason beyond what anyone could understand, absolutely no major candidates decided to enter. In total, 4 would attempt to try. And the biggest of them would be this guy by the name of William Bickerstaff. Now, William had just won a state assembly seat in 1972. It was a bit of a surprise. And prior to that, he had been running a motorcycle shop in Sparks, Nevada. I mean, I've never been to Sparks, so I can't really say one way or the other, but motorcycle shop owner doesn't really scream professional to me, despite the fact that the man looks like a complete dweeb.
No, he doesn't even look cool.
Nope, not even close. Like, I was kind of picturing, like, we're going to get a leather-wearing Hunter S. Thompson sort.
Yes.
All we got is, like, an accountant who figured out that bicycles are even cooler when, like, an engine is attached to them.
Oh, Nevada, you are a complicated person.
But the thing that was compared to the other 2 dudes who were running, he was kind of the only person with any experience worth a damn. There was Ryle Bowker, who was a construction worker. There was a real estate broker by the name of Gilbert Buck. Neither of them were really exciting, and it really kind of seemed like Bickerstaff was going to be the guy who ends up winning just by default. And even he recognized his chances of winning probably weren't great, but if he could just get his name out there, he'd have a chance. The thing that was, he wasn't prepared for the unthinkable, a woman. So women were invented in 1972.
Damn it.
Yeah, so 1974 was a really, really unique year for women in Nevada politics and politics in general. In Connecticut, a woman named Ella Brasso had just won the nomination for the Democratic Party for governor. And it was kind of this, what's the word I'm looking for? Strange as fuck moment that really threw people for a goddamn loop. The idea that a woman who is not a widower could be a governor of a whole state was very strange and new.
Yeah, I think also in 1972, that's when Yale University finally opened up to women and became co-ed. Let that sink in.
That's 40 years ago, right? 50, 40 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take away your credit card for this information.
Wow. Twist the knife, Dusty.
I'm so sorry. So what makes this race even more fun is that a woman by the name of Shirley Crumpler would decide to run. Now, she's 39. She's a single mom divorcee of 4 kids. But it's noted by the New York Times that that's not really a big deal because while Nevada is the marriage capital of America, it's also the divorce capital of America.
Yeah, and it has always been. Yeah.
No one gives a fuck.
There's so much history there of like these ranches that were set up essentially so women could establish the 6-week residency required to then get a divorce. And then it's like, well, obviously lesbians flocked there, right? Like,
oh my God, I love this.
That's just known, right?
I love this weird state. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Nevada in America, Nevada deserves to be the Florida of America. It is the only state that has legalized sex work. Yep. It is the only state where you could still be executed by firing squad.
Oh my God.
You have to request it though. Which,
okay,
I mean, I kind of get it. Lethal injection isn't exactly a science. So
no, it's not.
Maybe, maybe
it's also the parts of Las Vegas, which was established essentially by the mob.
In the middle of a goddamn desert.
In the middle of the goddamn desert. All of those like major casinos and brands were then taken over by Mormons.
Really?
As the mob lost power. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
A lot of Mormons are in and around Las Vegas too, or certainly Nevada.
What a weird state.
Yes. Brandon Flowers is a Mormon.
I don't appreciate that. So in 1974, a lot of weird stuff, like I said, was happening with women in politics in Nevada. A woman who claimed to be a countess was currently running for state representative. A woman who was the owner of the Chicken Ranch, which is a notorious brothel. The Bunny Ranch.
Yeah.
The Chicken Ranch with Bunny Ranch. Some Animal House. It was the Chicken Ranch. Yeah. The madam who runs it was also running for state senate and actually had a chance of winning as well. And so a lot of strangeness was going on at this time. So Shirley running wasn't completely weird. And the fact of the matter is, she had the experience. She'd been elected to head the Nevada Republican Women's Foundation, and little did people know she was known statewide. She had been working for years and years to build up her name with the female conservatives of Nevada. And so when she decided to run, she had this built-in group of people who were ready to make sure that she won.
Oh, you mean she did the work?
Yeah, she did this weird thing of doing the work, and it worked out.
Wow. A concept. So let's go back to the grifter, please.
Oh, no. Yeah. So while Mr. Staff is like, oh man, all I got to do is let people know who I am, Shirley's sitting there like, everyone knows who I am.
Fucking knocking on doors. And it is a drive from town to town in this state.
I have moved on to step 3, sir. Good luck. It became a lot more depressing for Mr. Staff because he decided to run a poll to see how many people in the state knew who he was. And I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the primary, he found out that 86% of the people polled had never even heard of him. To quote a podcast I used to listen to a lot, it's not great, Dan. Yeah, and so it's really not that big of a surprise that Shirley Crumpler would end up taking the nomination 49-39, become the first ever woman to win a primary in the state of Nevada for governor. So,
Shirley.
And like I said, she had all the qualifications to be the nominee. She had the experience with the party. She was, as you would expect for a Republican, she was strongly law and order. She supported the death penalty because firing squads are fucking cool, man. They give you a cigarette, you get a fucking blindfold, fucking one person doesn't have a bullet, so no one has a guilty conscience. It's a win-win for everyone.
Except the dead person.
And
justice.
Come on. But yeah, and she had a moderate dislike for the welfare system because as a single mom, yeah, she's running her own business, but I think she also recognizes that if she didn't, things would be pretty tough. And so it's like a half and half. Like some of it sucks, some of it doesn't. So
yeah, fine. Whatever, Shirley, fine.
But like I said, the major thing going against her was she had a vagina. So the New York Times in particular would end up running a story after she won. It wouldn't be Shirley Crumpler wins Republican nomination or anything like that. It ran with the byline of, quote, woman wins the Republican primary.
God, they have
always just been terrible.
Mhm.
Like, I can't blame that on not having enough editors on staff.
This is the time where everyone was a goddamn editor.
You went to law school and then you dropped out and became a journalist. That's how easy it was.
Pretty much. It's very frustrating because, especially reading all the news now, the only reason that this story ends up getting told right is because of one journalist, and everyone else is just like, she's a dame and she's running for office.
That uterus has got a mind of its own.
Literally every single, well, not literally, like 80% of the articles that I read about Shirley were just like, you won't believe this. She's blonde and she's got gams for days and she's running for office, wouldn't you know?
Everything is a Conan O'Brien interview with a hot celebrity.
Yes.
They've all got that tone.
Everyone's like, she's blonde, she's hot, holy shit, she's running. She has no chance of winning. And look, I will say this. If Bickerstaff had won, he would probably have even less chance of winning because like 86% of people don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Even he knew that it was going to be a sacrificial lamb sort of a candidacy. But it's mostly because on the other side, we have the man, the myth, the powerhouse of Nevada Democratic politics, Governor Big Mike O'Callahan.
Oh, shit.
I really wish this weren't true. The man is a quiet generation archetype. Everything about this guy sounds like it comes directly from a book.
Oh, hilarious.
So Big Mike was born in 1929 in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Before and after school, he'd work on his family farm, which wasn't exactly successful. The whole goal of the farm seemed to be to make sure the family doesn't die, and anything after that's just gravy.
Sure.
But the U.S. government had different plans. They said, hey, you know what's even better than growing corn? Blowing shit up on your land.
Oh, no.
And using the greatness of eminent domain, they're like, hey, that farm's ours now, and it's no longer a farm, it's an artillery range.
Oh, no.
So just like Jim, Mike ends up having to drop out of high school because he has to figure out, like, how the fuck am I going to make sure the family has money now? Like, yeah, they got something from the eminent domain, but it's typically not great. And Mike ends up taking a bit of a fast track. And at the age of 16, he goes to the Marines, lies about his age, and gets in.
Well, shit.
I mean, to be fair, it was 1946, so it's a full year after World War II. They're a little bit shorter on dudes than they used to be. So they are probably just like, whatever.
17 3/4? Great. We'll take you.
Sounds good. And so since it was after the war, there really wasn't a whole lot for Mike to do. So they shipped him off to Guam, and for 2 straight years, he guarded prisoners.
Woof.
At the age of 18, he would reach the rank of sergeant.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Lord.
It was around this time his family also moved to Washington, and he was feeling homesick, as any teenager would who's in the middle of the goddamn Pacific Ocean. So he got an honorable discharge. He moved back to Eastern Washington, and he kind of started civilian life. He worked a little bit in the ironworks. He was an amateur boxer from time to time. He even took classes at Boise State.
Yeah, whole time waiting for his frontal cortex to set.
It would take another 2 years for Mike to realize that civilian life really wasn't for him. And the military had just done this cool thing by making a new branch called the United States Air Force. And Mike wanted in.
Cue Top Gun music.
So Mike and a few of his friends dropped out of college and immediately joined the Air Force. Mike would study to be an intelligence analyst, and for the next 2 years after that, he went to the Aleutian Islands in Alaska and just studied intelligence during the Korean War for the first 2 years.
Okay, that's cool.
The problem, though, is intelligence analysts really don't fight wars, and the Aleutian Islands hadn't been invaded since 1942, so there was really never going to be any frontline fighting for Mike. And really, for him, that's what he wanted. And with the Korean War going on, things were getting so bad for the Army that they released this statement that said, for a short time, that we are going to have a waiver that if you want to complete Army officer training and you're in another military branch, you can hop on in sight unseen. Just take a small test, prove to us that you know what you're talking about. We'll get you right into officer training school. And Mike looked at that and he said, not good enough. And he went to the Army and he signed up as a fucking private just so he could get on the front lines as soon as goddamn possible.
Wow, he got bit by the bug.
Look, I get it. Like, World War II has just happened. It probably sounds great. There's probably a lot of people who are just like, get to kiss dames in Times Square. It's fucking wonderful. You could shoot Hitler in the face.
Nothing is quite the adrenaline rush of being stuck in Guam for 2 years when you're 15.
Guam sounds so nice right now, but
It
I
sounds
get
so
it.
nice.
Like, you can't exactly enjoy Guam if you're standing outside of a shitty prison watching one drunk.
But also getting out there and being like, oh shit, no one's heard of Jesus Christ. Everyone's like cool with their bodies. This is great.
So Mike ends up going to Korea and he gets right into the front line. And a few months later, of course, his life would be changed. So on February 13th, 1953, an outguard post would come under attack from enemy forces. Mike very quickly put himself between the enemy forces and the post. And before long, Mike would be hit in the lower leg by an 82 millimeter mortar round.
Oof.
Now, Mike, being the badass that he is, immediately found some telephone wire, grabbed his bayonet, and combined the two into a makeshift tourniquet. which I think Les Stroud puts tourniquets very well. They hurt more than the gunshot. And he ties up this tourniquet on himself. And for the next 3.5 hours, he guarded the post until literally everyone could be evacuated. And once everyone was safe, only then did he accept an evacuation out of there.
Oof.
He would end up being awarded the Silver Star as well as the Purple Heart. Sadly, though, his leg would have to be amputated. But Big Mike returned a war hero. And after a pair of appointments from Governor Grant Sawyer and President Lyndon Johnson, O'Callahan ran for governor of Nevada in 1970, and he was the surprise victor over the Republican nominee.
Why Nevada?
I don't know. I think part of it is that's just where he moved at the time. He was a high school teacher for a little bit, and he got a job in, I believe, Henderson, Nevada.
Okay, yeah.
At Basic
Like
High
suburb.
School. It was called Basic High School, but like Basic Academy. Either which way, it sounds hilarious to me. But he was a high school teacher and a boxing instructor. And fun fact, one of his students, when he was teaching history, was future Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. And
I love that.
Big Mike is the entire reason that we got Harry Reid. He's just like, you're a smart kid. I like you. I'm going to make sure that you succeed in whatever you decide to fucking do.
And Harry was just like, yes, Blue Dog Democrats forever.
And look, I was trying to find something about Big Mike where I was like, fuck this guy, he's too perfect. No, he's just a silent generation motherfucker who he's just like, he was quoted at one point saying that with the Korean War, he didn't like the fact that these untrained boys were being sent over there to the front lines. They should send someone who's already trained. And that's the whole reason that he signed up as a private.
Oh, damn. Because he had been over there already at 15.
He'd already been to Guam at 16. He already knew what he was doing. The motherfucker served in 3 branches of the 5 in the military.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's
Mike, not all of us have that time.
Ludicrous. He took the amount of time that Jim had to start and sell.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Like one business and another business and kind of serve General Abrams, but like for a year.
For like a year, like an internship, like an annoying, like study abroad semester.
Yeah. Like, he's doing an internship with the Daily Show, and then he comes he's like, whatever, man, no one's gonna fucking hire me here. I'm gonna start a puzzle company. So of course, Big Mike Callahan is very popular. People fucking love him. If this guy's gonna lose, you need him to fuck up in some way. It's the only way you're gonna beat Big Mike Callahan. And so what you have to do is you have to wait. And Jim was more than willing to do that because Jim had a platform, and it's really unique for the time period. Una, I need you to be ready for this. Fuck the communists.
Really? That's it?
To be fair, that is the IAP's entire modus operandi at the time, is fuck the communists. So one of the deals of getting to run as an independent American Party nominee in Nevada is that if you ran, any ad that you had to be included the ad for their party. And look, fuck the communists isn't a unique thing in America at the time. It was actually a very powerful sentiment in Nevada. And it's mostly because of a senator they had throughout the 50s by the name of Pat McCarran. Now, Joseph McCarthy gets a lot of the acknowledgement for leading the Red Scare back then, but the brains and clout behind the movement could easily be attributed to McCarran. So the man constantly fought against a multitude of international communist movements. He hated Mao Zedong and his push to take over China, and Jose Diaz's movement in Spain. And this would often lead to McCarran to make policy behind the back of Harry Truman, which you're not supposed to do. It's kind of the State Department's job, and if you're a senator making promises, that's kind of a deal breaker. What made it even worse is he was making a lot of these deals with fascist dictator Francisco Franco.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And he was a very vocal supporter of Franco.
Oh, yeah, this has light treason written all over it.
Well, yeah. So McCarran would even push for Nevada to pass a law in the 1950s that made it perfectly legal to fire literally anyone that you thought might be a communist. And fun fact, that law did not get repealed until 2013.
2013.
To be fair, is mostly because people forgot that it existed.
I would hope, but oh my God. Meanwhile, the brothels are trying to unionize. It's awkward.
No, they're all communists. So we had to fire them.
But I do love this in the mindset of like Godfather 2 era Las Vegas, where it's just like, hey, where'd Davey go? It's like, well, he was a communist. And that just becoming like a slang word for, it's like he sleeps with the fishes now. It's like, that's why we got rid of him, because he was a communist.
Yeah.
And he had gone against the family because he was a communist.
Well, the capitalists around here. Yeah, so it's it's a weird state to be a communist. Wouldn't recommend it. So on top of all this, McCarran was also a racist, an anti-Semite, and the Las Vegas International Airport is named after the dude.
Come on, Las Vegas.
Look, he pushed a lot for aviation in the 40s. What are you gonna do?
Change the name because you know better now.
They have tried.
Oh.
Most recently in 2017, and it did not work.
Wow.
So to say the least, strong anti-communist fervor isn't exactly something new or unpopular in Nevada. Lucky for Jim, the party was ready to hand out the free book that proved that they were the only people that knew the true danger the country was in. Now, like I was saying earlier, this is kind of the deal that was made, is that you could run as an independent American Party candidate. Just the other half of your ads had to show an ad for a book by the name of None Dare Call It Conspiracy. You can read it online. It's 100% free. It is a goddamn screed. It is just rambling bullshit. So it really shouldn't surprise you that it's written by a pair of John Birchers, Gary Allen and Larry Abraham.
Oh, stick to the pamphlet, boys.
Now initially, None Dare Call It a Conspiracy was sold during the John Schmitz presidential run. While Schmitz only got 1 million votes, they sold 4 million copies.
There's a grift.
They still had about 100,000 left over, though, by the time that they were running in 74. So they had made an announcement that the first 100,000 people to write into the party got a free copy.
How about that?
So I assume by now they're sold out. So I at least want to give you the basic gist, the four major parts of the secret plan that is afoot. Now, you see, there are a group of capital letter insiders that are using aspects of Marx's Communist Manifesto to turn America into a red nation. And here are the 4 ways that they're going to do it. 1, they're going to establish an income tax to extort the common man. 2, they're going to create a central bank. 3, they're going to have that bank hold the national debt. And 4, they're going to run the debt up as high as possible by starting as many wars as possible. And this started with World War I. So technically, they're already about 1.5 steps there.
Did they just take like an Econ 101 class on acid?
A lot of this is based off of old conspiracies that have been around since the dawn of time. It's kind of an offshoot of the New World Order and all that bullshit of the one world government and all that nonsense. So after all these 4 things happened, America would collapse and resort to communism in no time. And Jim was even quoted as saying, quote, "This easy-to-read book is a must for every American to really understand the political score." Now, I hate to shit on the Houston campaign so early, but I'm honestly shocked about Jim's support of this book, mainly because it completely contradicts the work that he did in the Bahamas. Now, the Bahamian Monetary Authority was kind of a bridge, like I said. They were initially, trying to bridge the gap between British colony and a Bahamian independent country. Mm-hmm. And the plan was, after they became an independent country, they were going to start a central bank, and that central bank was going to assume all of the country's debts. And
isn't that what you need to do?
And as we all know, the Bahamas are a hotbed for communism nowadays. It's not like they just had a democratic election for their prime minister.
Yeah, it's not like they live and breathe off of tourism and sweet tourism dollars.
Look, yes.
Like, if anything, the Fire Festival should have made them turn towards communism and realize, fuck this.
Look, to be fair, that was a pair of Americans. They were just there taking the money.
Yeah, and then you should have been like, that country's capitalist. You know what? Maybe we should go a different route.
It's such a strange thought process to have there, to have this book and be like, oh, the Bahamas did half of this. They're fine, probably. The communists don't care. They don't like tropical climates or laid-back atmospheres. It's 700 islands. How could you communize all of them?
Yeah, what are all the islands going to come together and form one island? No, they're going to free market those islands.
Mm-hmm. So that's one weird thing that we have going on here. But look, it's one weird thing. It's not like anyone's looking this up or understanding how weird this is. Communism's coming. It's very weird. You just gotta fucking trust me. It's around this time. This is a bit of a tangent out of nowhere, but it was around this time that Jim started telling people that, hey, guess what? The Houston, my last name. That's not a coincidence. I'm actually the descendant of Texas revolutionary Sam Houston. So I don't know if that makes me want to vote for you more, but I thought you should know.
What? I mean, is he? Like, actually? Or was this just...
no one's there to prove him wrong.
Oh, boy.
So throughout the summer of 1974, Jim began a statewide tour to get as many people on his side as he could. And while he couldn't get many Democrats to change from liking Big Mike, he was able to bring a coalition of Republicans who felt abandoned and a swath of independents who were fed up with the two-party system. And when I say Republicans who felt abandoned, I mean a lot of men who were pissed off that they suddenly had to vote for a woman.
Yep.
So James pushed an ad campaign in all the major newspapers statewide, featuring a half-page ad detailing his life story and advertising a free copy of the party's sacred book. He spoke at events warning of an oncoming depression orchestrated by secret powers that be, and he promised that the only way to stop them was to create a dual currency system, one that still honored the dollar. But Una, you're gonna love this.
No.
You're gonna love this.
No.
There's also a system where you can buy reserve notes that are backed by gold and silver. That's right. Gold and silver standard. One fucking place.
And he knows just the vault to get this silver.
Look, he's been storing it for some reason.
It's not your silver, John.
He even released a version of the money that would come out. Instead of dollars, it's all in grams.
Stop it.
It's like we already have silver certificates, man. It's like this already fucking exists if you want to bring it back.
Not even some like funny money.
I mean, it was light blue colored. But I mean, Nevada is the silver capital of America. So if you're gonna
Of
appeal to
course,
people,
they're into it. Yeah.
it's around this time that the Equal Rights Amendment was also kind of a big deal, which we talked about it a couple episodes ago, was essentially saying, hey, women are humans too. Maybe we should pay them the
Yay.
same. And Big Mike was like, yeah, I support this. Fuck it. And of course, Shirley, she was against it because her whole thing was it allows the courts to define whatever. And James took a bit of a different route where he was like, look, it's more of a states' rights issue for me. And in effect, I'm going to be passing the Equal Rights Amendment because a lot of women are going to have high-ranking jobs in my administration. You're welcome.
That was what?
Yep.
That was
Yeah,
a lot
that's how it
of
works.
talking out of both sides of his mouth.
That's how it works, though, right? You give 6 women high-ranking jobs and you pass an amendment by default. But most importantly, though, James brought a fuck ton of money to the fledgling party. Initially, party heads were just glad to find a man who would be willing to put his name near the None Dare Call It conspiracy book and advertise alongside the campaign. But James added $500,000 to the party. And initially, the head of the party was like, I don't know, maybe we'll need $100,000 to keep things competitive. So suddenly, you have about $2.8 million in today's money suddenly pushed into this campaign.
Holy shit. He was like, I'm going to flood this campaign like I'm about to flood the silver dollar network.
No, James doesn't do anything half-assed. He has failed up his entire goddamn life, and god damn it if this is going to be the exception. And since all of the money was coming from him, he became the de facto figurehead of the party. The Nevada Coalition even pushed him as the keynote speaker at the party's national convention in Chicago, which from what I can tell, the entire debate was, should we endorse George Wallace in 1976? And that was it.
Holy shit.
Despite all of this, the state's press wasn't really taking to James or the IEP at a very serious tone. Despite getting 13 people on the ballot across the state, many polls just ignored that they were even running. On October 14th, 3 weeks before the election, a whole 2 people told a poll that they planned to vote for Houston, despite him not being an option that they asked. They were just literally like, we're voting for James Houston. I know that's not an option. Write it the fuck down.
Whoa.
But time was running out, and Jim needed to prove to the press that he was worthy of attention as well as the governor's seat. So he devised a plan. On the weekend of October 19th and 20th, he decided to hold multiple rallies across the state that he dubbed the Old-Fashioned Political Rally Tour. On the 19th, he would visit Ely, Elko, Fallon, and Carson City, and then spend the next day in Tonopah, Hawthorne, Lovelock before finishing things out at the IEP headquarters in Reno. And he would be traveling the old-fashioned way, by Learjet.
Oh my God.
He's essentially going airport to airport for 2 straight days. But it would be fancy as fuck. He promised speeches. There'd be a car parade in Reno. There would be a street dance between him landing and to dinner time. And if you got a ticket early enough, then you would get a free ride in the Learjet. There was going to be free hot dogs, soda. Una, there was going to be free beer.
Oh shit.
It was an extravagant weekend, and it resulted in an enormous turnout at most of the airports. So much so the newspapers had no choice but to report it. In total, the Reno Gazette estimated an audience of 4,300 people had arrived during this tour. Even the party themselves were shocked by the turnout, noting that they ran out of food and drinks before everything was done. And suddenly, the IAP and James had to be taken seriously. Before long, James was actually invited to the main debate in Reno. Granted, he didn't show up. He had his lieutenant governor show up. He had business that needed done.
No, this is, oh God, okay.
His half-page ads expanded to a full page, which now featured his new book that he promised to write about the European knowledge that he had gained, called Countdown to Depression.
Yeah, I've made that promise before.
Look, when you have a, what's the word I'm looking for? An airport rave that goes really well, that's usually a good sign to write your book. He purchased 5 hours of weekend television time to rail against the IRS. He had up to 240 radio ads, 92 TV ads, and 47 billboards running statewide to boost his candidacy. Not only that, but the Western Pacific Gold and Silver Exchange even blew up from 16 offices to 70. And even Shirley Crumpler was taking James seriously, expecting to pull somewhere around 15% of the vote come November, which she was talking about as a good thing, because even she recognized that she wasn't going to get more than 35%. But if he did, if James did well enough, that vote has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, if Big Mike, if he gets fewer votes as a result of it, then Shirley actually has a chance to win. And after one really showy weekend, James actually had a chance of winning the race. And he actually might have too, if it wasn't for people doing, basic research on the kid.
People actually read about him? Like
One person looked into him.
It only takes one.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I found. And I will say for these 2 points, I can't prove that they are wrong. They are just details that do not add up. So first, remember how he got that secretarial job with General Creighton Abrams?
Yes.
Now, I don't have Jim's military record, because that's a FOIA request. That takes some time.
Yeah.
It's like a week turnaround for the most part for these episodes.
Yeah, we got to talk now.
But based on some timeline assumptions, it seems like he would have served sometime between 1963 and 1966. And I'm assuming that 65 to 66 was probably the time that he worked for Abrams. So he stated that while he was working with Abrams was overseeing the operations of the European theater, which, well, let's be blunt about this. Abrams hadn't done that since World War II. Around this time in 1964, Abrams had been named the Vice Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army, which is a position that stays pretty much all the time in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, you're Pentagon Central.
So if this is 100% true, there is no way in hell that he would have been in Europe being the Secretary for General Abrams at the time, which leads me to believe this might be a lie.
Yeah.
So secondly, there's the topic of the International Publishing Corporation, his whole puzzle company. So the IPC does exist, but not in the way that they say. So the International Publishing Corporation was founded in 1963 in Britain and is actually kind of a shell company for The Mirror, which is a newspaper which is very old in London.
Yeah, and very trashy. Or no, I'm thinking of the Daily Mirror.
Anyway, they're kind of trashy. Yeah, they're kind of trashy-ish. But they were entirely a holding company for their magazine efforts. So if he started the International Publishing Company, I feel like he would have run against a lot of copyright issues at the time. There does seem to be an American version of this company that exists in Massachusetts, but it was founded in 1994. And honestly, if this company was big enough, then I feel like there would be at least some sign online of them existing, and none does whatsoever.
Interesting.
I kind of have to believe this is lie number 2. We already covered everything about the Bahamas and why that's weird, so I don't believe that the Bahamian government was like, hey, Rando, come to our nation and help.
Thank you. I feel vindicated.
Una is very good at spotting a grift.
I sniff them out. They smell so bad.
And so here's the thing. I can't really prove or disprove these things, but there's one thing that I can disprove, and that's thanks entirely to Harold Hyman of the Las Vegas Sun. So Harold had been getting anonymous letters for weeks, and each letter had said, hey,
I'm the Zodiac Killer.
I'm the Zodiac Killer, but beside the point.
Whatever. Also,
you need to come to Utah. There's no silver in the vault. This letter was mysterious and strange and kept coming week after week. And finally, Harold was like, fuck it, I'm going to Utah. He goes to Utah and he finds the guy who was writing the letters in the first place, a dude by the name of Rob Franklin, who kind of happened to be the security guard for Western Pacific. So he hadn't just been sending letters to Harold Hyman. He had also been sending letters to the Las Vegas Gazette, as well as the Nevada Attorney General's office.
It's like, anyone, please, just someone.
I have to remain anonymous. Please take me seriously. And the only person who responded was Harold Hyman.
Mazel tov, Harold.
And so
he did a mitzvah.
Rob takes him to the vault, and what should be inside is $2.4 million in silver, which I can't really imagine that. I'm just expecting coins and bricks, and I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just visualizing Fort Knox a la that James Bond movie.
Exactly.
Goldfinger.
And so Rob opens up the vault, and it is completely fucking empty.
Wow.
To which Harold immediately takes a few pictures.
Yeah.
Thanks Rob for his time, says, hey, you should probably lay low for a while. And then one day before the election, the Las Vegas Sun releases their expose on James Ray Houston.
Quote unquote Houston.
Well, it's funny that you say that because his name while running the Western Pacific Company happened to be, let's see, I need to get this right, Sunray Star.
It's an amazing name.
It's a great alias.
That's a grade A grift name.
It's
like he owns a crystal shop.
He's from Barstow. He's fucking killed a man with a tarot deck and he wants to keep your silver safe.
He only wears caftans.
Look, I am surrounded by Mormons. No one is taking this. And so essentially what Harold had found out is that there was actually a reason why none of the silver was there. And it was because a number of people who had invested money into the gold and silver exchange were expecting a bit of return on their money. So what James Sun decided to do was to take the silver, sell it, and then give a larger portion to the original investors. This is something called a Ponzi scheme.
Also, that silver was there because people were paying $30, a month just to hold it?
Yep.
The point was that they were paying $30 for it to remain there.
It did.
So, it got legs and walked off.
Yep, it is. I don't know what Mormon took the silver, but it is done gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so all this time, Jim's been running a Ponzi scheme out of Utah. But it also turned out that the $500,000 that he donated to his own campaign was money that he had borrowed against stocks for the Western Pacific Company. And so now that everyone knew that it was a Ponzi scheme, those stocks were completely worthless. And that $500,000 was never going to come back.
Oh my God.
And James, being a smart, honest man, immediately left the state.
Yeah, skip town.
He skipped fucking town. So, out of nowhere, the Las Vegas Sun has now discovered that it's entirely a fraud. Everything's worthless. Money is gone. James Sunray Star Houston is also gone and is nothing more than a flashy con man. Congratulations. This is good enough to get 15.5% of the vote. And
Did
look,
not enough people read The Sun?
Look, I understand that not everyone lives in Vegas who lives in Nevada, but I would assume that
yeah.
news travels.
15% is still so many percents.
Well, the frustrating thing is, yes, he would finish third, but he would finish just barely behind Shirley Crumpler, who got 17% of the vote.
Oh.
And following this, Shirley decided she would never run for office again and settled back to her career and family and just stopped.
It was, no, Shirley, I get it, but it wasn't you.
As for Jim, though, this would kind of be only the beginning. So, because a con man can't just get caught once. That's, you're not a real con man if you've been caught once. And really, technically, he wouldn't be caught the first time. So, after escaping Nevada, he'd be caught on a flight to Florida by a fish and game warden who was just like, I can citizen arrest you. You're coming back to Nevada.
Amazing.
In 1978, he'd be charged with 24 counts of fraud and he'd go to trial. And by a complete miracle, he would be found not guilty of all charges.
That makes me sick.
Essentially, yeah, 1,100 people would be out $3 million.
Wow.
But by that point, though, reporters had also discovered his other aliases, which included Rex Rogers, J. Orlin Grab, and my personal favorite, Midas Mulligan.
No! Who is this man?
Midas Mulligan is a shitty alter ego of he's not quite Batman, but he's different enough that you're not going to get sued.
He's the Fago Cola of X-Men.
I'm flying nocturnal guy. I'm here to stop most crimes. And so he used different social security numbers and names to fit his cons. And 1975 would kind of be the high watermark for a while. He'd eventually leave Nevada in 1981 and carry on his new scams elsewhere. I wish I could find more for this, but in 1983 would be the first time he would actually be convicted for something. While he was living in Los Angeles, he was arrested for running a fraudulent talent agency.
Ooh.
Which I'm trying to figure that out because I feel like most talent agents, you could get away with that. Like if no one got a job,
how
it was bad at you.
How bad did you have to be for people to recognize it as fraud?
Look, I'm not a great actor, but I'm pretty sure this guy's defrauding me. So he would move around from Georgia to California to Missouri, scamming wherever he could. But by 1990, he would come up with one final con. So it was around this time that James and his son and 3 other folks who got involved in this particular scam of sorts decided that they were going to make their own variation of a lottery scam. Now, typically with a lottery scam, you're like, hey, you've won a free cruise. This is amazing, right? If you could just give us your bank information, we can give you that cruise. And so he decided that's a little too basic. So what they decided to do instead was they would walk up to Americans and tell them that they were going to go to Canada, buy Canadian lottery tickets with their money. And if they won, then they'd only take a small percentage of the winnings.
And people did this? This sounds so dumb.
It did so well that they started going to people in Canada saying, hey, I'm going to go to America and I'm going to buy lottery tickets for you. And if you win, I only want a small percentage.
All right. I don't understand, but fine.
This went on for 16 years.
16 fucking years?
From 1990 to 2006.
2006?
Yeah.
You and I had graduated college.
Yeah, we were glimpses in capitalism's eye at that time.
Yes.
Yeah, and so eventually he would get caught. But by this point, $26.5 million had been funneled to them. Because here's what they were doing. To ensure that there would be minimal amount of worry. Because essentially what they were doing is they weren't buying lottery tickets, Una. Huge shock, I know. They were pocketing the money, but to make sure that people weren't getting freaked out, they would take some of the money and give it out as winnings to people who had invested early on, but this money would come from newer. He's still doing a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
It's only different. It's just with the lottery now instead of silver.
God.
So people start getting arrested all over the place, and James says, well, funny story about that, and he disappears.
To the Bahamas?
He disappears for 7 years until in 2011, he shows up at the American Embassy in Costa Rica and says, hey, I'm turning myself in.
What?
Yep. Now I have a reason for why I think he did, and we'll get to it in a second.
It's cancer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It 100% is. He gets
Called it.
extradited,
Yep.
tried, and he's convicted of 10 years federal prison in Terminal Island, which is where like Al Capone got sent, and like a bunch of mobsters and a bunch of famous people end up getting sent there for various reasons. And he ends up serving a year because in 2012 he died.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. So yeah, to date, this is since like the progressive and people's parties of the early times, this is the best third party performance for a gubernatorial race in Nevada in the modern times.
It was a fucking grift.
Yep, is entirely a con from the fucking jump.
It was all a lie.
James took a huge fucking swing, and with the exception of one journalist, he would have gotten away with it.
Wow.
Like he tried to do things somewhat legitimately in Nevada. He started like a penny exchange, which I don't even know what the fuck that is. Where it's like,
is he the reason that there are now all those tiny little trays at bodegas? It's like take a penny, leave a penny.
I think it's a penny stock sort of thing where like you come in and buy a bunch of stocks for nothing, and surprise, surprise, that didn't work out.
Jeez, okay.
And yeah, he just did Ponzi schemes his entire fucking life, and he is the bright shining star of the independent American Party. which nowadays
saying something
still exists. They still fucking exist. They are no longer an offshoot of the American Independence Party. They died. And now they're technically an affiliate of the Constitution Party. So they're still far right. They're still paleo-conservative. They're not racist anymore, but they're very anti-vax.
Aren't they though?
They're actually not.
Are you sure if you scratch the surface a little bit?
Yeah, they're racist.
Okay,
they're just less white supremacist and more racist.
Yes, you could. Yeah, shades within the white supremacy. They are less racist.
Yeah, so they're a very weird party as of right now. But I think we actually have to end on a good note. End on the future of Big Mike O'Callahan.
Yeah.
So Big Mike, he has his entire future ahead of him. He just jumped to the biggest win for a governor in Nevada state history. He got like 65% of the vote. He did amazingly well. And he comes up to 78 and they're like, hey, you want to run for a third term? You're totally allowed to if you want to, which he says, no, I'm good. And he fucking retires from politics entirely.
Wow.
He buys a newspaper, and he is the executive editor of said newspaper from 1978 until his death in 2004.
Oh.
And Una, do you know what that newspaper is?
Was it The Sun?
It's The Sun. He's the executive editor of The Sun for his entire life, and in probably one of the most depressing endings ever. Like, he would die in 2004 of cancer, and his wife would die 7 months later from cancer. But it was absolutely one of those things where it's like, oh, you died within a year of each other, you fucking archetypes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, I was trying so hard to find something wrong about Big Mike O'Callahan, because anyone with a nickname like Big Mike, there's going to be something fucked up about that guy. It's just because he's a boxer. He is a big dude who boxed, who lost his leg in Korea.
Just got up, did the work.
Yeah, I mean, his final words were like, well, I guess so.
Oh my God.
It's gotta be. I'm assuming those were his last words.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
It's such a weird goddamn story. But yeah, that's the story of James Ray Houston / Sunray Star / his other aliases that he had.
Midas Mulligan.
Midas Mulligan. My God, like, what is the third-rate DC? Like, someone who's just selling comic books in Chinatown, just trying their best. You know, it's Spider-Man.
Oh my God.
Oh man. So
what
yeah.
East Germany imprint is this from?
Yeah, luckily Nevada isn't as weird, I guess. I mean, we still have.
I think it's still weird. It's just always going to be quirky, but in a way that I appreciate way more than Florida. Way more.
I mean, look, you still have owners of brothels who are running, like Dennis Hoff tried to run as a Republican, but he at least had the decency to die before he won.
Oh my God.
It's such a weird state, but I gotta, like you said, I gotta be appreciative of it. It's a state after my own heart, and it's very, it's like if Barstow grew a conscience. I know I'm shitting on Barstow a lot, but it's a very fun place to make fun of. Yeah, so that's the story of James Ray Houston. Any thoughts to finish this out?
I feel like this is an excellent podcast trend of ours where you tell me a story and I sniff out the horrible grifting underbelly of it.
You know, we keep joking about how we're going to make our own grift, and all James has proven is that you could run a Ponzi scheme your entire life and still mostly succeed.
Yeah. Yes. We need to get on this.
So a funny story that I was going to leave out. 1978, after he gets acquitted, he throws a party that night and he invites Harold Hyman and presents him with a Best Journalism Award.
If I were Harold, I would be freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, I believe that's what I read, is that Harold was goddamn terrified and left.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it seemed like the funny thing to do, and even
Yeah,
if
no,
you had
it feels
good
like a
nature-
Sicilian kiss. It's like, I need to
does.
go.
Yeah, it's like I'm not exaggerating when I say that James looks like an evil Pete Davidson. But only from one angle. He looks like the sort of guy that you would see on Unsolved Mysteries and be like, why haven't they arrested this dude? Clearly it's him.
Yeah, this is totally the guy.
Well, congratulations, Independent American Party. You somehow made white supremacy hilarious.
Truly a feat.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us here at Gadfly this week. We'll see you next week on Gadfly. Gonna get a grip. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?